We have commenced 2026 Master Series. We rolled out the Master Series a number of years back, and practically what we do is, bring on board people with expertise in terms of we have professionals that deal with acquisitions, property management. We also go as far as making sure we bring the people that are really doing the practical things of commercial real estate, ranging from acquisition, like I said, from liquidity, up to title, whatever you have in terms of what it takes to get a deal done, either in apartment acquisition or whatever you have, retail, or as much as you have out there, there are people doing deals out there and they get it done with a team. That's why we created the Master Series, where solo will deal with team members that you also too can connect with. It's just an aspect of Commercial Property Club podcast. Thank you for joining me once again. My name is Ola Ibiwoye, and today I have the honorable privilege to bring on board Adeola Adebisi to join us today. And she's a commercial property broker, and she's been in the industry for quite a bit. And she's the founder, the broker, principal in Dominion Realty Groups Incorporated. Leads in commercial brokerage and advisory services in the brokerage in the Houston market area. I talk about four triangles in all of my podcasts. Four triangles in Texas. We're talking about the market in Houston, the market in the Dallas Fort Worth area, Austin, San Antonio. Today we have a broker from the market area of Houston. Like I said, she's going to be furnishing us with elaborate, wonderful things. A brief history about Adebisi. She's a dynamic real estate professional. She's been doing it for 7 years. Quite an experience, I would say. And commercial brokerage is her expertise, and some of the things she does in this brokerage is acquisition, in development, value add, investment advisory, strategic positioning when it comes to deal flow, deal acquisition, also to work in collaborative aspect of things in this industry with developers. Our motive is just to be value add in person in terms of negotiating, identifying deals, ultimately creating wealth long term. And that's the one of the major reasons why we get into real estate, to create legacies, to create multiple wealth. Like I said, she's expertise in so many aspects of commercial real estate. When it comes to financial analysis, she does it. When it comes to construction management, she also does it. She's gonna be letting us into how she gets it done. And I don't want to take too much of our time today. I'm going to allow her to just give us tidbits, give us insight, and, let us know how she gets it done and give us some answers to the questions I have today. I was just discussing with her about some of the questions that is coming her way, but I'm quite sure she's up to the task. So please help me welcome Adeola Adebisi, founder, executive broker in terms of Dominion Realty Group in the Houston area. Thank you for joining us today, Adeola.
Thank
It's so
you.
good. It's so
Thank
good
you
to
for having
have you
me.
here. Awesome, awesome. It's always good to have expats on board to join us with our show. We have quite a large audience in the medical aspect of things. I myself a pharmacist, an investor when it comes to commercial real estate in the in
Okay.
the asset class apartments, and we love to work with brokers like you, and we just want you to share with us today the aspect of how how did it all started? How did it all started that now
Right.
you have your because I know a number of years back, you when I met you when we started talking on LinkedIn,
Hmm.
you had other partners, and then now you run in Dominion Realty Group Incorporated. How did it all started?
Right. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Ola. So
Yeah,
just a little bit about me, right? I started
yeah.
about 7 years ago, as a real estate assistant, actually. But over the years, I've grown quickly, into brokerage, into being independent, right? And
Okay,
doing deals for investors in the Houston area.
okay.
So it's something that I'm very passionate about, right? Been in
Mm,
commercial since 2018.
okay.
So what I basically do is, I help investors, find out the best deal, right, for their
Mm-hmm,
portfolio growth. And so it's been very positive and lucrative for me because I think my goal is always
mm-hmm,
to first educate people, right?
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
help find that solution to their goals and what they need. So I'm all about wealth growing, I'm all about adding value to people. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and that's what I've been doing for the past 7 years.
Awesome, awesome. And without no further delay, uh, so many times in real estate we talk about what does it mean to be strategically positioned when it
Mhm.
comes to growth. Coming to your experiences, let's look at managing projects from some of the projects that you've overseen from concept to completion. What are the
Right,
most critical data-driven metrics investors should analyze when moving from, let's just say, some of the newbies out there moving from
right.
residential to commercial real estate, most especially
Um,
the apartment sector, so,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course. I think there's a big difference, obviously, between residential and commercial.
Mm-hmm,
Residential is more emotional driven, while commercial, you have to look at the numbers. So you have to look at things like your net operating income, what is the cash on cash return. So you're taking yourself out of the equation of like your personal likes,
mm-hmm, yeah,
and you're looking more from the lens of an investor. Is this property going to work for me? Is it
uh-huh,
aligned with my goals? Is it going to build that wealth that I'm trying to create? So you also need to be careful and do a lot of due diligence, right, with
mm-hmm,
commercial
mm-hmm,
because you don't want to go in and then be in debt, right?
mm-hmm,
Commercial properties, it's a large investment. It can be life changing for some people.
mm-hmm,
So you definitely need to look at the cap rates, the NOIs, the cash on cash return. What is if you're looking at rental investment property, what are the rents in the area?
yeah,
And then also, what is that appreciation possibility for that property? So it's a whole lot more, right, than just looking
mm-hmm,
at the pretty things
yeah,
of, oh, I like this, the paint of the house for
yeah,
residential. It's definitely
yeah.
different, and
I
that's why
can
I
I
think,
can tell you that there,
yeah,
that's true.
exactly. So that's why you have to have, a professional with you that's gonna go through those numbers with you.
Yeah, so it's more pivotal, very important to focus more on the number rather
Right.
than being sentimental. Yeah, I agree with
Correct.
you. I agree with you. Though, in the vicinity of commercial real estate, you just have to understand that there's something called numbers.
Right. And I always like to
uh,
tell people that, even if it looks bad, the numbers might be great. So it's not about, face value of what it looks like. It's like, where is it located? What are the numbers looking like? Is this going to make me money in the future? You have to be very open-minded with commercial.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So now talking about you broker in the Houston area, that's more
Hmm.
of the south side of Texas market. Which I still tell people you can tell me nothing else. The Texas market is the best market. I
Yeah.
I, I can I can agree. I can't I can't
I
agree
agree.
less, you know. So
Right.
now your market specialization in Dominion group serving the Houston Metroplex and the Houston Metro, what specific trends are you currently seeing in that market that offers profitable opportunities in
Hmm.
terms of the local and also the international investors? Because yeah, well, we're data
Yeah.
driven, so yeah.
Yeah. So like you mentioned earlier, Texas is a great market to for any newbie investors to get into or seasoned investors. Especially Houston, right? I think costs are low compared to the neighboring markets like Dallas and Austin. Particularly especially in multi-family. I think the dollar per door is lower here, right? So but what I'm seeing a lot more increase in industrial. I feel like industrial is like neck to neck with multifamily sometimes.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, but industrial is still king, right? I'm
Hmm.
seeing in the Edo area, like the closer to downtown area, there's a lot of conversion projects. So converting some industrial to mixed use, converting some office buildings, which is a slow asset class, as we all know, to mixed use, right?
Hmm.
So I'm seeing a lot of pretty hip conversions where they create kind of like a marketplace for people. So definitely smaller units
Okay.
that's more affordable for, first time business owners. And those type of conversions actually are pretty popular and their occupancy is like over 100%. It's almost like a waiting list.
Oh wow.
So uh, industrial is definitely still king in Houston and also that whole conversion process of changing up uh, like assets that are not performing into
Uh-huh.
something that they can cut it up and rent it easier to more tenants. So that's kind of the trend that I'm seeing in the Houston
Okay.
area.
Now you talked about the industrial aspect of things, which
Hmm.
obviously sometimes we refer to it as warehouses and stuff like that,
Right.
and depending on the class of warehouse we're talking about, and only you touching bases on that because could you tie that to logistics in terms of the Houston port or the traffic of the Houston port, making it
Hmm.
like a like a uh, like a place in which when it comes to warehouses, industrial, like you call it, is the reason why.
That I'm not gonna discount that that isn't a big part. That is a big part of it.
Yeah.
But I also see, so those are like large logistic chains warehouse. That's still um a business that's ongoing, but I do see smaller business owners using warehouses that has been reconverted into like a creative type space
Okay.
to market, to obviously house their business. So you have old warehouses, maybe like the fronts being changed to like a retail setting,
Mm-hmm.
um, and the back is like a warehouse. So a lot of developers are actually doing that. Um,
Okay.
and it's I think it's cheaper for them to do, right? But at the same
Okay.
time, it houses a lot of tenants because it's more affordable for tenants. So not just the port of Houston, but also it's a trend here that's happening in Houston that I think developers found that like golden piece or
Okay.
golden nugget of something that's going to
Wow.
add value to their portfolio.
Wow.
And it's
Oh,
what they're
wow.
doing in the downtown Edo area. Yeah.
Wow, that's good to know that there's conversion going on. So more of like
Hmm.
getting retail spaces and getting office spaces in place. Am I right?
Right.
Awesome, awesome. So when it asset class diversifications, you have experience across board, just like you talked about right now, including industrial, which you touch bases on now, right now.
Hmm.
Now, what about healthcare, mixed use properties? How do you advise clients in choosing the right assets based
Right.
on their long term wealth objective? How do you instruct some people that are investing in those areas?
Of course, yes. Again, it's case by case. It depends on the client's goals, right?
Okay.
And it also depends on their capacity. I think a lot of people go into commercial thinking, oh, it's going to be easy, but it takes a lot of time, right? It
Mm-hmm.
takes a lot of that initial investment of time. So, um, the first thing, that I do with clients is to have a sit down. What are your goals? What is your capacity, right? Because that's a very important, I think some people shy away from that discussion, meaning
Yeah.
realistically, what can you handle in this point in time?
Yeah.
Or what is your realistic timeline in the future to getting to that goal? So those are the major, like it's first item to talk about
Okay.
before
Okay.
deciding the asset class. And you mentioned medical. Medical is always, I think everyone is always rushing to have some form of medical investment property under the portfolio. Why? Because they tend to, provide long lease terms, right? Higher
Okay.
rents.
Mm-hmm.
Medical tenants tend to be able to afford higher rents. So that definitely is so it's popular anytime clients are looking for retail investments. They're always wanting to have something that has medical in it.
Okay.
But of course, with higher rents comes the higher cost of the property. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
again, it's all about what is the client's goal and what is your capacity at this time. And if you're not at that level of being able to achieve that goal, let's set a timeline for you to work towards getting to that goal. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. That's good. With every, deal comes the risk aspect of things. That much
Hmm.
sometimes we like to want to convince ourselves it's all going to be profit all the way and think look at the numbers that look pretty, but sometimes it's always a good investor will consider what are the risks that
Right.
even the good numbers, a good deal that you stumble into do everything about can turn into a bad deal quickly, if it's
Hmm.
not managed. So during due diligence and contract negotiation phase, what are the most common red flag that you encounter that you could potentially that you would think you would potentially derail
Right.
some transaction? How do you advise your client? How do you advise investors?
Right. So due diligence, always important to do even before you sign that contract. With commercial, there tends to be a lot of due diligence before that. So I've seen obviously things like environmental issues, right? With
Yeah,
commercial
yeah,
real estate.
uh-huh,
That's one of the inspections that you have to get done, obviously.
yeah,
So deed restrictions, if you had
uh-huh,
plans to buy a land and you're not looking at those fine prints in the deed of what you can do, that's a waste of funds because some of those restrictions do last
yeah,
over,
mm-hmm,
buyer to buyer.
yeah,
And then, there's title defects, but of course, hopefully the title company catches that.
mm-hmm,
And then deferred maintenance, I've seen some
yeah,
properties that they look very nice outside with some patched up
yeah, mm-hmm,
paint and everything, but when you look at the systems, it's literally buckling under.
yeah,
So um it's very important to do that due diligence and have someone. So you need to have a team, contractors, a real estate agent that has that eye,
yeah,
that can, let you know, okay, this is the process. There is no rush. I know you're
yeah,
excited to have this commercial investment under your belt, but you need to really check your how do they say dot your teeth and check your eyes? You need to really
yeah,
check your
yeah, yeah,
your like the background of the property before
yes.
you actually go into it.
Yeah, absolutely. You really highlighted some good points. A lot of people don't understand how important
Hmm.
due diligence is, and one bad incident or one overlooked red flag, right? It could make, like I said, your good deal turn into something that is
Correct.
a nightmare. That's how.
Yeah. Yeah.
So due diligence, is very important for even for seasoned investors as well
Hmm.
as newbie. You gotta watch what comes, what be able to deal that you get a charge back in terms of your offering prices, or you get your seller to deal with the situation before
Right.
you take over the property, something like that. So
Right.
So talking about development in the Houston area, I don't know what it is down. I mean, well, I have a bit of data on that,
Hmm.
but you're on ground most of the time. So development and partnership, you work closely with contractors and lenders and
Hmm.
municipal council managers, town managers, they will call them, some of them. What is your best advice for investors looking to build the right team, stakeholders for a ground up development in the Houston area? What kind, projects like that?
Right. I would say obviously surround yourself with professionals and always reach out and network. Always just keep adding contacts. Because there are some people that are more experienced than the other in this aspect of real estate. So yeah, I would say like you need your broker, you need to know a architect, right?
Hmm.
And it's almost like a chain reaction, right? So one
Yeah,
person will always refer you to the next. Even if you start with a GC, they will know an architect,
yeah,
an engineer,
yeah.
a broker will know an attorney. So um, there's always going to be that connection where, once you have that team, then it's
Hmm.
easier for you to, hit the ground running with your projects. Definitely hire people with or work with people with experience.
Yeah.
Work with people that have done it, have
Hmm.
fully constructed and
Yeah.
finished and sold.
Yeah.
So, um, and I think working with the right team, obviously, it'll save you a lot of money. It'll save you a lot of headache. But of course,
Yeah.
there's nothing perfect in the commercial world.
Yeah.
And I think working with the county, also you need to kind of be updated because there's always some form of code update, right, going on there.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I think attend, just go online, find permitting events, like some of the permitting centers in, your
Hmm.
counties, they are holding like a town hall meeting or something, right? Um,
Yeah.
that way you can know what's going on, what is the new changes, chat up some engineers and saying, okay, what's really going on in this county that I'm interested in
Okay.
developing in. So yeah, I think those are some of the things. Just reach out, network, and gather those like very heavy important professionals under your belt.
Yeah. Awesome. And you talked about the county right now. So
Hmm.
which part of the Houston area would you say, and you could mention cities also too, would you
Right,
say
right.
that those are affordable places you can get into, still looking towards gentrifying or perhaps development is heading that way? These are places that you want to
Right.
see if you could
Um,
do development in those areas in the Houston area.
I would say the development is more towards the center of Houston, south,
Okay.
going south.
Okay.
Again, by the downtown medical center area, there's a lot of development. There's a lot of refurbishing, a lot of conversion
Hmm. Okay.
towards a bit north of I-10 area in the Edo
Okay.
area. Excuse me, there is a lot of development going on there. Not
Hmm.
too much all the way in the far north. It's pretty slow over there.
Okay. Okay.
But that activity is really happening for commercial real estate anyways.
Hmm.
In the center, going a little bit south, there's a lot of industrial
Okay.
development around 288 area.
Okay.
So yeah, I think just staying in that center south. So south,
Yeah.
I guess it would be southeast area. Yeah, southeast. Hmm.
Awesome. Awesome. So wealth creation, long-term wealth creation is pivotal when it
Hmm.
comes to commercial real estate. Those are one of the tools that can create wealth. As entrepreneurs, most investors out there, they're entrepreneurial in the ways they get into these deals. Your passion as an entrepreneur too, also to as a broker, about educating entrepreneurs on property ownerships. What are the primary benefits of business owning their commercial space rather than when it comes to leasing in terms of I'm sure you've had clientele that will say, look, I'm building ground up. I'm
Right.
gonna office from this from one of the suites. I'm gonna lease out some. Um, I'll ever they want to do. What are your advice?
Right. Right. Well, obviously when you're leasing, you're adding value to someone else's property. You're not building your own wealth, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but when you have something mortgaged out to yourself, you are building
Yeah.
equity, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you can have tax advantages from that, with your business.
Yeah.
And then you get to pass it down to your future generations, right?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you at some point in your business life, own a property. There's, I don't, some people, I have some people that are on the rent side and on the,
Yeah.
fighting against the people on the purchase side, but there's just so much positives to owning a property. Again, it's like you're paying into your pocket, like I always say, with the mortgages. So while with rent, you're never going to get that money back. So,
Yeah.
I definitely would say when you can, right? Again,
Yeah.
everyone at a different level of pace with their business. When you
Yeah.
can do, try to own. I'm not going to frown against people that start leasing because you can lease and then build yourself up to owning. So
Yeah.
leasing has its positive also. It gives, first time business owners time.
Yeah.
But your end goal should be to own a property because you are building wealth that way and it's
Yeah.
something of
Oh,
your own. Yeah.
awesome. Awesome. And I cater to a lot of most of my networks, physicians and dentists as well as nurses and pharmacists also too. And this ties to the fact that some of these professionals want to start their practice. Some have been, working for private enterprise or government facilities for a number of years. And
Mhm.
also too, there are newbies, graduating from medical schools also to try to start their own practice as partners and so that ties into what you're talking about right now.
Right.
How do you, in terms of your content experience, how do you help the medical community in acquisition of, in ownership, in terms of starting their own practice? What comes to mind about that particular class? You know?
So what comes to mind is again time, right? Because you
Yeah,
guys tend to be very busy.
yeah,
So if a client that's in the medical field comes to me, I'd say, okay, what time do you have, right? Again, it's case by case in terms of their goal.
yeah.
And in trying to start a practice, um, if you have the capacity to be able to purchase the property, right?
Mm-hmm,
Maybe purchase one that is a multi-unit property, where
mm-hmm,
you can be in there, right?
mm-hmm.
Housing your business
Yeah,
and at the same time collecting rent to help pay for the property. It's a win-win, obviously, that way. So I think that's probably one of the best advice that I could give, people in your community is, if possible, try to purchase a
mm-hmm,
multi-unit um, property if they're at that stage of purchasing
mm-hmm.
to start their practice. Yeah.
Wonderful, yeah, and then just like you alluded to, the medical community is quite a special niche in terms of you know starting your practice in that same building, having your tenants also to
Mm-hmm.
mostly complementary to what you're doing as a medical practitioner. Most times, medical buildings will always have complementary
Right.
tenants actually. So that's another thing, I always advise to watch against. You can be a dentist,
Right. Right.
and you have alcoholic anonymous on your
Right.
you
Right.
know
Right. In
renting
the
from
same
you
plaza. Yeah,
in the same
exactly.
plaza. You will want somebody else that complements your practice just to
Right. Right.
help the
Exactly.
traffic. So
Yeah.
yeah, so underserved communities is by say, as an advocate for expanding
Right.
opportunities in
Mm-hmm.
underserved community, what strategy can investors use to identify undervalued assets while also contributing to the positive growth of neighborhoods? So something like, I know a few years back, there was this opportunity zone thing that came
Mhm.
off of the federal government, and something like that. What strategies can investors use to serve communities like that?
Right. Well, to identify those kind of communities, obviously, um, you have to know, I guess, be well versed in what's happening in the area, like the market news, right?
Yeah,
There's always a lot of obviously online news, or like I mentioned earlier, being well versed in the county meetings and
hmm,
the county news.
yeah,
That way you can find out what's going on, which area are they giving, tax benefits to for developers to come in.
yeah,
So I think if you want to find that, underserved community, you definitely have to be on the ground or have someone like a real estate broker that can kind of advise you and say, okay, this is what's happening down here on the ground, and this is the area that we're seeing. The city is trying to push more development, to happen.
hmm,
Um, so it's always good to, again, kind of familiarize yourself with the area and also and have someone that is familiar with what is going on. So like in the Houston area, there's a lot of opportunity zones that they call it.
yeah,
And in those areas, you have tax benefits, tax advantage. You can kind of see, okay, where are new schools coming in, maybe like universities building new um, areas, right, or new
hmm,
centers. Also with roads development, right? Did
hmm,
they expand on highway? Things like that are indications
yeah.
of growth coming in into the area. So that's what I would advise. Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to site selections and some of your travels with investors, what key factors would you consider during site selection process to ensure property will support successful leasing
Right.
strategies and maximize long-term value for that asset?
Right. Right. So obviously you have to look at, well, you have to match your goals, right? What you want with uh the site that you are trying to get. So, a wrong building in the right area is still going to underperform. So you want
True.
to make sure you
Yeah.
put the right building in the right type of property asset in the right area. And of
Yeah.
course, what we do for newbie investors, I actually always recommend like a feasibility study for that area. But and that's if you're going in with yourself, maybe without an agent involved and you're just investing on your own.
Yeah.
But of course, when you have a realtor or broker with you, they'll be able to provide you those data sets, about the demographics, what are the rent, so values in the area, what is a walkability score, the traffic counts,
Hmm.
all these things matter.
Yeah.
So of course, for example, zoning is very important.
Hmm.
You have to know what you can do in that area. So you can't obviously put an industrial in the middle of a residential. That's not going to work.
Yes.
And then accessibility is also important, right? Depending on what you're trying to
Yeah.
build. So again, those are all things that are important, for you
Mm.
to discuss with your broker and or your real estate agent and say, okay, what I want to do this. This is my goal. This is what I want to put here. Do you think this is the best location for this? So that's the process we go through. Yeah.
So the key factor is making sure it still comes down to due diligence of
Exactly. I can't stress that enough.
yes.
Due
That's
diligence is very important.
yeah, very important. We keep on running into it when it comes to all those assets.
Right. Right.
So
Exactly.
so so investment decision making in terms
Hmm.
of for most especially for first time investor, when they Houston area, what is the first step to recommend that they take to begin building in terms of commercial portfolio that fosters generational wealth. The good point you highlighted was also to making sure, I've come to understand it's all about relationship. So, what would be
Yes.
your investment decision making advice for?
Yes. Number one is education, right? Educate
Mhm.
yourself.
Yeah, you
Um,
can stress that. You can stress that
educate
enough.
yourself.
Yeah,
But at the same time, while you're educating yourself, leave that education bubble and pair with actionable items, right? Like, or actionable tasks, while you're educating yourself, reach out to actual people, right? Because you can absorb so much, but if
yeah,
you're not going on the field asking questions and
yeah.
seeing what exactly is happening in that specific market, you won't really learn, right? It'll just be textbook, like how it
Yes,
is with medical, right? Yeah, there's a
yes,
lot of textbook, but you
yeah.
have to go on the field and actually
Hmm.
do some actual due diligence. So, education is always important. Networking,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, hmm,
Do not be shy. Do not be scared to ask questions, or there's no,
yeah,
useless questions. Um, and I think that's, when you network, you have that team around you where you can fall back. And even if things go wrong with your first investment, right,
yeah,
you can have professionals around you that, are able to help you navigate out of that, difficult situation. So, um, definitely educate yourself and at the same time, network and reach out to professionals.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we can stress the need for education.
Right.
Actually, sometimes you get to learn from other people's experience before you go through the same
Exactly.
mistakes that others go through. It's
Exactly.
better it's cheaper to learn, to
Hmm.
learn from knowing what to do rather than to make that mistake and,
Yep.
relearn again. There's always that experience that come with it, but it's cheaper
Hmm.
in terms of when it comes to, especially in commercial real estate, it's a
Right.
big size item in terms of liquidity. So one big mistake or one small mistake could cost several thousands of dollars, and that's
Right.
always very good to know what you're doing, then put
Yeah.
action to what you're doing in terms of going out there, just like you rightly say. So mission driven investing, you believe real estate is about transforming futures. How do you help your clients to align with financial investment decisions in terms of their personal or their business missions, in terms of people coming on board, working with
Right.
you?
So the first thing is I try to understand the client's goals, right? Like, why do they want to invest, right? Whether it's in their personal business or they just want investment,
Okay.
hands-off investment. Um, so it's more of like, what is it that you want? And that way we can say, okay, this is the most likely proper investment for you. Some investors want just like a passive income coming in where, maybe they're too busy and they just
Hmm.
want something that has minimal managing. And, some are actual business owners that want to, be all hands-on with their business and get new properties and all for their business and expand. So it just depends. I think the first important thing is having that sit down, having that chat on
Hmm.
their goals and where they want to be, and also like their financial objectives, basically, and their timeline. That's one of the most important things to discuss with your clients as a broker.
Awesome. So it's very important. It's very important what you just talked about right now in terms of being mission driven. Being mission. It's a long term game. I said, I tell people, I said, real
Right.
estate is not a sprint. It's a marathon.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
just you have to understand the fact that you gotta be patient. You gotta be you have to stay the course, and that's what it means to say
Right.
that you are really playing that. you're playing in that space, and
And you're building a legacy, right, for your family.
absolutely,
So
absolutely,
it's
absolutely.
it's never a wrong turn to entering into it. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So now talking about, specifically, focusing on your market, and also to
Hmm.
with I want a situation whereby people can connect with you down there, also understand that, they have uh, an expert down there that, they can reach out to if they are in the Houston areas, because I have
Right.
some people down there in the Houston area, and there are some people looking into the Houston area from all the states out. So they really want to know the how to navigate the Houston market. Now, given your experience in the Houston metro area, identifying profitable investment opportunities, and also conducting market analyses.
Hmm.
What are the specific submarkets or trends that you're currently seeing in the Houston area, in the suburb, or the core Houston area, whatever it is, when it comes to multifamily sector of things,
Right.
apartments that provide best long-term value for investors.
Right. So obviously the multifamily market in Houston has been pretty steady, I would say, and stable.
Okay.
Again, the price per door is still below, national average compared to other markets.
Okay.
Um, I think multifamily market in Houston, it's an easier and a safer market for newer investors to get
Yeah.
into just because it's not as expensive. Um,
Yeah.
I would say the rent growth is slower annually.
Okay.
It's like less than 1% annual growth in the past year. So it's been steady compared to like Dallas and Austin, which have higher rent growth.
Yeah.
But to put your foot into the multifamily market in Houston is going to be easier than all the surrounding markets. Um, and then, of course, the absorption rate has gone down a little bit because, right now there's more supply than
Mm-hmm.
demand. So um, definitely it's still, occupancy is still high, right? We're at like
Mm-hmm.
above 90%. So it's a steady market for multifamily. It's a safe, steady
Yeah.
market for people to come into that are looking for that um, both stabilize and value add opportunities. I think, yeah, Houston's a great market to hop into for that for multifamily. So yeah, it's the trend is steady. I think just the only con is that slow rent growth, right? We're not seeing as much rent growth like,
Yeah.
we would want, compared to other markets.
Oh my, it's good. So the deal flow down there is pretty quite good, I would say.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. It is. It's still affordable, right? I would say Houston is still very much affordable for investors. And that's why you see, people are always looking for and people are looking for opportunities and these opportunities go fast, right? Once it comes because again, that price per door is lower in Houston compared to if you were trying to find something in the Dallas area or the Austin area.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The Houston area is it's good. It's good entry points for newbies.
correct, exactly. Good entry point. That's the word I was looking
So
for.
I so, well, we're still going to be talking about some people entry point, because, like I said, we want
Mhm.
people that are in the Houston area to connect with you, and also make sure
Right.
they know that there's somebody down there. So, advising new investors on acquisition, uh, which you're passionate about, educating first-time investors and wealth creation through commercial real estate.
Hmm.
When a new investor is looking to acquire the first multifamily, the first
Hmm.
apartment, um, maybe your $10, $20, your $30 out there, what are the most critical data-driven factor that shows, you know, or rather what are the factors, what are the uh, data-driven factors that should be prioritized, and the due diligence, and also even the financial analysis and face of things.
Right, right. Of course. So for first time, multifamily investors, I think it's very important to get those numbers in front of you, right? The
Yeah.
rent rolls, what are they looking like? And is it in actuality what is happening, right? So you need to see some
Mhm.
leases that are signed to confirm those numbers. Um,
Yeah.
and so it's not just about the purchase price, some might be cheap, but it's like what is the numbers looking like with this property? Apart
Hmm.
from that, what is the condition of the property, right? If
Yeah. Hmm.
you see something very nice and cheap, but you're like, okay, what's the catch? So is
Yeah.
there going to be a lot of work to do? So, and then again, it depends on your goal. Like some people are looking for that distressed value add asset, right? Which is very
Yeah.
popular here in Houston versus a stabilized asset that's, ready and good to go. So definitely look at, the rent rolls, ask about the occupancy history,
Yeah.
and, work on those, what's the real cash flow, right?
Hmm.
I know a lot of properties in Houston, they like to work with a projected NOI and I'm always telling my clients, do not look at that. Just what is the current NOI, right? Let's
Hmm.
let's
Hmm. Yeah.
look at it in worst case scenario, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to have any numbers inflated because you want to be in a safe bet before you invest in that property. And then do your due diligence. There are a lot of old multifamily properties here in Houston that might not be up to code, right?
Hmm.
So do
Hmm.
be careful if you want to do any updates. If it's just interior updates, it's still okay. But if you're trying to add, maybe there's room to add more to
Yeah.
the property, you have to be
Hmm.
very careful because a lot of the older properties are grandfathered in, right? And with the code. So once you start changing things, you have to now make sure everything is up to code. I think that's one thing that is a very important
Yeah.
factor because people see and they're like, oh, I can change this 5 unit to an 8 unit, but if you change it, is everything still going to be up to code? The parking requirements, is that still going to be up to code? So it's a lot of cascading things that you need to be careful for as a first time
Okay.
multifamily investor.
Awesome. Awesome. It's been a wonderful time with you today, and you know, your expertise is available down there in the Houston area.
Thank
So
you.
how do people connect with you? How do uh my listener, my network, how will they connect with you down there in the Houston area if they want to
Yeah.
reach out to you?
I'm on LinkedIn, of course. You can look me up, Adeola Adebisi. Also my email. Hopefully you can post this, Ola. It's kind of long, but at adesrealestatetx.com. You can send me an email. You can reach out to me also, and yeah, we can definitely discuss on, your goals and hopefully help you start building wealth.
Awesome. So here's my final questions. You talked about your philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
She has a wonderful philosophy, guys, and I just I want to let you guys know, real estate is more than buying and selling property. It's about creating opportunities, building wealth, and helping clients make confident investment decisions that transform their futures. That's a fascinating philosophy. You
Yes.
want to just touch base on that?
Well, yeah, I try to, of course, in dealing with all of my clients and investors, I look at, the process or I deal with the process as if I'm the one making these decisions, right? So you have to, so I give a boutique type of service feel
Yeah,
where it's, customized case by case. And um, again, real estate is about building relationship, right? So you don't want to be that broker or that agent that is just looking for that next commission, right? You want to help your
absolutely.
clients build a
Absolutely.
legacy, a wealth, and,
Hmm.
almost be a part of the family, almost.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's what is behind
yeah,
um that quote that you just read. And
yeah.
that's it's very important to be a part of that legacy that people are building because they will come back to you and you will be that trusted contact, in their phone book. So yeah.
Awesome. What a wonderful, wonderful privilege to have you here at Master Series 2026. You've really been a master in what you do.
Thank you.
I have been talking everybody with Adeola Adebisi, founder and principal broker at Dominion Realty Group, incorporated in Houston, Texas. She's brought a ton of value, most especially with the Houston market, the Houston metro market area. She's added a ton of value to us today. Ultimately, we value that here at Commercial Property Club Podcast. We're doing a master series, and we've talked to another master today. She's talked about a lot of things. Share this with somebody. We're about value add to investors, savvy investors, newbies, people that are invested in tangible asset in commercial real estate properties. And we've talked to somebody that is not only educated in that aspect of things, but also to playing in that aspect of things, specifically in the Houston market. If you want to work with her, she's a great personality, as you can see, to work with, even with the kind of philosophy. You cannot come with that kind of philosophy and not be able to be a people kind of person. So she's a good person to work with. You can connect with her. I would leave her email, her phone number on the show notes and everything so that you can connect with her. It's another episode here at the Commercial Property Club Podcast. It's the Master Series. I will see you another time when I bring on board another master in the space of commercial real estate. Thank you for joining me. This is Ola Ibiwoye.